Okay, and we are live. Roy, how's it going? Hello? Can you hear me? All right, I don't know if Roy can't hear me or if you guys can't hear me. So let me know
All
in the
right,
chat.
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay, well, okay.
It froze up, and I'm like, okay. All right. Bootleg Weekly. So remote, and we're having tech issues. I'm down to one screen. I don't know what's going on, but here we are. And what a day on the market. Tevis, how you doing?
Good, man. I'm doing good. My internet's going to be crap. Look at this. I've burned my forehead. It's, but other than that, pretty good.
Got to put on that sunscreen, man.
I know. Yeah. My sister looked at me and she was just like, I told you so. You're an idiot. I'm like, well, I don't think of these things.
Yeah.
But it'll be fine.
All right. So Tevis, where do you want to start? We got, by the way, if you guys are new with us with Bootleg Weekly, we, of course, are going to cover a select list of topics. And beyond that, we will have a Q&A period. Now, today we're going to talk about, of course, HIMS, whether or not it's back. And we'll talk about NVIDIA and Oracle, a little bit of Palantir news, some Figure, some Nebius as well, and more. So where would you like to start today?
We can start wherever. Just for the people in the chat, am I delayed? Because if I'm delayed, I can lower the video quality. But yeah, we can start wherever, man. Like maybe let's start chronologically and go backwards from there. You want to talk about this crazy oil price action? I can't hear you. I don't know what happened.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Boy, yeah. This will be a fun one. So tech issues are all around. So yeah, VG, of course, something that I've not been holding as a hedge, but it has become a hedge. And on days where there's a lot of Iranian news that's not great, it tends to do really, really well, and everything else does terribly. It's kind of nice to have something that really has a lot of alpha to where the market is. That it's going up when the market's going down, and vice versa. Of course, it's been beaten up the last few days. I'm like, yes, that's awesome, because I mean, like, it's not fully hedging all of my position or gains or anything. But all right, so we saw news today. We won't spend like too much time on this part of the macro. Dude, like, as a redhead, if I get in the sun, I look like a lobster. It's terrible. So
they combust.
But as far as the one thing that I saw from Iran that seems very pertinent to oil, natural gas, certainly, and also the macro, they threatened to put out 6,000 mines, which across the Strait of Hormuz, which would disrupt things for a long time. It takes a while, even in a body of water that's really not that large, with minesweepers to go through and get all of them. If there's even just one is left, that could be catastrophic, and you can really slow shipping traffic down. So something to keep an eye on. I actually ended up taking a little bit off the table from one of the names that I hold that was up 20-something% today, and I'm like, let me put a little bit of that in the VG, and then the next time VG runs, I'll just kind of have a little bucket of like, I'm going to trade between these two names because they are high alpha for VG and high beta for Figure. So, but just a small part of both of those positions.
Yeah. So for the minesweeper.
Yes. Oh, dude. Yes, Tanner. If you hear this message, the world needs you. Clear the Strait of Hormuz, please. Yeah, professional minesweeper there. So
you mean the
I didn't get that. What's that?
You mean the Strait of America?
Strait of America, right? Yeah, it's being renamed apparently. Not really.
America. It's
yeah. So for you, is there anything like that you're doing before we get into HIMS and Novo Nordisk and news? Are you doing anything to hedge any of your positions? Is there anything that you bought recently that kind of would serve as a hedge?
I bought a little bit of VG, just a little taster. I might have bought the top, but it's fine. Like, honestly, if it falls, it means that the rest of my portfolio, which is very high beta, is going up, and then if it goes up, it means the rest of my portfolio is going down, which is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So,
Yeah, that's a thing of a hedge is if it's going down, you're really happy because whatever bad thing that you're hedging against didn't happen. I mean, generally, unless it's like a really failed hedge, which there
Yeah.
are such a thing.
And I mean, like the sizing makes it somewhat of like a consolation prize because, like, if it falls and I'm like down whatever $1,000 on my VG or whatever, it means like I'm up a lot more on the rest of my positions. And then it's like if I'm down on everything else and I'm up $1,000, like that $1,000 is not really going to change the me being down on my entire portfolio. But it's a nice little consolation prize. Like I would have rather had it. Yes, Frenzy, this was the best buy. Let's see.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and for me, like BG is an unintentional hedge. Palantir kind of is as well too. But I mean, those are just both long-term positions that happen to be positioned well for all this conflict stuff. So I hope. No, I mean, I don't hope the VG and Palantir go to zero. But I don't mind days like today where a lot of the higher beta stocks did pretty well, especially early on. Faded a little bit after the news of the mines. And Tanner just needed to say, "I got this," and we would have been fine, but he didn't. So, anything else on the? There's one other thing on the macro that I actually thought was really interesting. Let me awkwardly share this, just because I'm working on one screen. Okay, share this, and I'll just share the tab because that's probably going to be the easiest thing. All right, so this is from the Department of Treasury. Came out today, and they had a little fact sheet, and I'll just show part of it. And essentially, they talked about this as a mini stimulus. Now, this is not saying the average refund over the regular amount that people get, but the average amount is up. I believe I saw as much as $400 per family, but the average refund is $3,700. That is a product of course, tax cuts that happened, and we ended up not adjusting withholding rates, like nobody did. So it's a little bit of mini stimulus there in the economy that, frankly, any sort of event like that is a good thing for equities. Usually more liquidity means usually some buying pressure. So it's a great thing to see between now and, really filing deadline is mid-April, but the refunds can be delayed, a little bit depending on how people file. So yeah, that's a nice thing to just see actually play out the way that was expected. Anything else on macro before we want to move on and talk Novo Nordisk and HIMS?
How long do you think this thing is going to last? Because Trump is being seesawing, this expectations around. He said, "Oh, it's pretty much over, but it could last longer. But don't worry, it's pretty much over, but it could last longer." And the market's just roller coastering. What do you think?
I think we have at least weeks left. I don't think it's going to be all year, but just because one way or another, the rest of the Middle East will not put up with it. They can't. Their entire economy basically it revolves around oil, or large chunks of it. With Qatar, it basically is Bahrain, Kuwait, and so forth. So, and Saudi Arabia is a little bit diversified these days, but still, it's Saudi Aramco is huge. So they will probably end, I would say, at longest in months. And there's a lot of different ways it could end too. I just hope that, I would prefer to end more quickly, but I don't want this to have to happen again. Not to get into the politics of it.
I mean, it's interesting because I shared with a friend of mine the real estate prices in Dubai, which had fallen like 21% or something in a week. And I saw this. There was this video that was circulating about this game theorist who's like lecturing, and I shared it even on my X. Really interesting video. I mean, obviously there's mixed views, but like one of his central theses is that Dubai is basically dead because this sort of broke the mirage for people that it's this utopia of wealth, and if it happened once, it could always happen again, and you don't want to take the off chance. And as a result of this, money is just not going to flow into Dubai anymore, which is really interesting because part of me is like, all right, real estate in Dubai is down quite a bit. Do we buy that dip? I mean, this was the conversation I was having with a friend. Like, is it gonna be like, hey, news cycle is short, people forget, buy the dip, and you're going to do very well? Or is this the start of a structural mindset shift away from Dubai? And you can move to Singapore. I maybe a bad example, but like you can move to wherever, somewhere else. And I don't know what the perception is like after this event. Do you have any thoughts? I mean, it's not necessarily just stock related, but
I
kind
mean,
of
it's
curious.
as a complete amateur here. Like I would say, no. Human psychology is very reactionary, and ultimately, like, let's say this is resolved in 5 or 6 weeks. That's actually going to stabilize the Middle East, and that will actually help Dubai, not hurt. So I think the only way that Dubai would really be like crushed and dead is if this is a extremely long, protracted war that just gets real messy and lasts years. In that case, boy, everybody is feeling a lot of pain, including the United States, but especially Dubai. Yeah. But I mean, like, no, I think that I think it's just an overreaction, and that's a silly take, but we'll have to see. I'm an amateur, so maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, like in most cases, to chalk things up to an overreaction, you'd be making a lot more money than if you thought the end of the world was around the corner with everything that happens. Because generally speaking, the news cycle is short and you move on. Like, who's talking about Venezuela still? Like there was a whole freaking like regime change, structural change, the way that they live and what that means in geopolitics is completely different. Nobody's really talking about it. That was like last month's news. We've moved on to something else. And so I don't know if it's going to be the same thing with Dubai. I'm sure the influencers have a vested interest in trying to keep the real estate propped up in Dubai, but it's like it's so dependent from a resource perspective on external factors and on external investment, which begs the question, you can essentially make a utopia out of any place in the world where you have that collective desire to do so. Why Dubai? You can have Portugal be the next. I mean, it is 0% tax on crypto, haven for expats. All you need is a government that's actually favorable to foreign investment. And so I don't necessarily know that there is anything unique about that particular location other than the government is just very much pro all of this foreign investment, right? So I don't know, man. These are just the thoughts that come into my mind right now. That was a very interesting episode. Yeah, Predictive History channel on YouTube.
Hmm.
I can sense the biases in a lot of the stuff that he is saying, but like is very interesting to watch. And Ricardo is asking where in the world, like where would you invest money if not Dubai to say like something is safe?
No, he's asking where you're at.
I don't think. Well, I'm in Argentina, but I don't know where else is like the new place to invest.
Yeah,
It,
I'm very skeptical. I don't really see another competitor that offers what Dubai offers as far as climate, as far as tax haven and shelter, as far as cost of living. So, and a fairly, at least by Middle East standards, liberal environment. So, yeah, we'll have to see though. Are you going to buy the dip on Dubai?
yeah, exactly. With what money, bro? I don't know. Um, yeah,
Um,
just kind of curious, kind of interesting. They really need to invest in their own defense, and like I know it's such. I don't. Maybe this is and I don't know. Maybe I'm just rambling on geopolitics at this point, but like maybe this is the crux of all of these allied countries is that they've defaulted to the US for so long and never really invested on their own uh, national defense. Like Canada's in the same spot, man. If something happened to Canada, like I'm pretty sure you can just strike in the middle of downtown Toronto, and it's like Trump's phone's going to be ringing off the hook. But it's not. There's nothing that they're like. They don't have their own freaking military. It's very very small, and so maybe this just breaks the sort of mirage of saying like, oh wow, the U.S. we thought would always be like Israel, for example, has the Iron Dome or whatever. So like at least they have some type of proprietary defense. I don't know. This is uneducated takes. I'm not a political theorist or whatever, but I think that even if it was to bolster public confidence in foreign investment dollars going there, for them to say, okay, we're actually going to invest in some defense now, and like whatever the case may be, I think that would go a long way, because it's all like, it's very clear now that there's glaring holes in this strategy of like, oh, let's just default to the US.
Yeah. It's definitely a risky proposition if suddenly your relations with the US are not that rosy, the US is otherwise engaged, or I mean, like you just need to respond to something the United States can't protect you for. So I don't particularly like us being the world's policeman, just being not getting too far into the political stuff. But yeah, Trump's been talking about it for a long time, the need for NATO and allies to invest more in defense. But like historically, like it's not uncommon, right? Like in eras that seem to be more stable and have less warfare, or regions that, like even in archaeology, you can look and see that there's times when defenses were very minimal, walls are very small, and other times when they're massive fortifications, lots of mass graves, obviously a lot of bad stuff going on. So it's sadly a little bit cyclical too. So shall we talk HIMS and Novo?
Mm-hmm.
So you have no position in HIMS. I have no position in HIMS. Of course, what came out actually when we were doing our Ron and Travis show on Friday, I think like 5 or 10 minutes after we got off, Travis, there was a rumor issued by Bloomberg, echoed by Reuters and a few others, that Novo Nordisk and HIMS had made peace, that HIMS would no longer sell like the compounded GLP-1s, that they would do it in partnership with Novo Nordisk. But they remained rumors all the way through the weekend. And then on Monday, the rumors actually proved to be true. So, of course, HIMS jumped up, I think, 40% on Friday. It was a little bit before the entire after hours was closed at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And it held on to a lot of those gains. It has pulled back just a little bit, but it's still up massively. Ironically, Tevis, it's very close to the price that I actually exited the last little bit of shares on. So, but I mean, it went down like to $13 and change. It almost doubled from that floor. It was kind of crazy. So we've seen Novo and HIMS make partnership agreements in the past. Do you think that this actually is putting the nail in the coffin and making peace, and this is going to stick? Or what's your assessment, like your initial read on this?
I mean, was it one of Novo's guys that came out that said this time is different, and the lawsuit is dropped? Like, I kind of get it. I didn't think it was going to happen necessarily because of HIMS management, but I kind of get it, because Novo, from a sort of game theory perspective, like if they had if they held the cards, if they had a position of strength, they would have done the lawsuit immediately. And for as long as they waited, the more it telegraphed to the market that they don't actually have a strong hand, or that their hand is being forced. They're being forced to play a bad hand. HIMS pushed that to the limit. So HIMS is very much the aggressor, let me say, because the lawsuit dropped like 24 hours after HIMS pushed their luck. Marty McCary came out, and the investigation came out, and then the lawsuit dropped immediately after. And if HIMS hadn't done that, then Novo would not have done the lawsuit. And Novo, if they had a position of strength where they knew this was like slam dunk, no brainer, they would have done the lawsuit like January 2025, February 20, or at least when the compounding stopped back in, when was it, March 2025? So the point being that it kind of makes sense from Novo's part that they flashed this very risky hand, and instead of seeing it all the way through, they just did a compromise. And from that perspective, it makes sense. From the perspective where I don't trust it, is I don't trust it with HIMS management, because they've shown time and again to be overly aggressive in pushing their boundaries. And a little bit being provocative in terms of what they can and they can't do. They operate in that gray area. And there's going to come a time, I feel, where HIMS is going to try to bite off way more than they can chew yet again. And I don't necessarily know that it's going to be Novo that breaks it off, or whatever the case is going to be. But I just think that HIMS management is going to do some stupid stuff in the future. And that's ultimately one of the reasons why I was like, hey, if I don't trust the management team, why am I invested in this name?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Like a couple people were asking me, and I do see a couple people in the comments too asking if we're thinking about getting back in, and I'm not. Now, I exited HIMS for a different reason than PayPal. With PayPal, like thesis is broken, and I get out when the thesis is broken. HIMS, I'm like, I don't know if the thesis is even broken or not. It just like it's weakened for sure, and a lot of it has gone back to what you said, execution risk, management specifically, them doing some crazy decisions. And we've seen, like, that's my concern too. Like, I can see it working out either way, that either they,
yeah,
things are fine, things are stable, and then they start really ramping the 503A exception as far as the compounding, and they're not supposed to, and they made agreement not to. That would be terrible for HIMS, but they'd make some money on the short term. It's just not worth it. Or like this could actually be one of those things that ends up being great for HIMS if management actually takes a lesson here. Where I mean, like they invited the lawsuit on themselves with
yeah,
that offer that they made, like right before DOJ and everybody cracked down on them. And then, so if they take this lesson and they really just focus on the peptides, they focus on HIMS Labs, building out the MedMatch ecosystem, implementing AI from front end and back end as well, focusing on the international expansions that they have, continuing to expand and scale testosterone, estrogen, and so forth. Great. I mean, like those are not nothing. It's a good ecosystem. I really want the company to succeed. I just don't know that that's going to be their focus. It seems like that they're the kid that got caught stealing candy, and they're always like, "Oh man, there's some candy right there, and I can get away with it this time."
I think
It's a
that's
concern.
perfect. I think that's a perfect analogy. And you actually like took the words right out of my mouth, because like I just want to answer these people, man. Like this is the best case scenario for HIMS. HIMS went all in and won. It's like, guys, they won. It is the best scenario, but they won getting themselves out of a hole that they themselves got in. Like, to keep with Roy's kid in a candy store analogy, like they're the ones shoplifting and they realize, oh wait, there's a cop right there. I can't get away with this. Let me put this back. And they walked away scot-free. They didn't get in trouble. It's like, well, that kid is still going to be wanting to be shoplifting in the future. It's just they didn't, like, they got themselves out of the jam this time around. And again, regardless, their growth has completely cratered.
Yeah.
And so that's fantastic that they won the lawsuit with Novo. And like, I'm really happy for people that they got a big, 40 or 50% rally from like $15 to $24, but, or $22, whatever that is at right now. But the point is like, like what's the thesis? What's the thing that gets you guys really excited? It might be peptides, sure, but like, what's the thing that they have right now? Because the GLP-1 story definitely didn't, play out in the same way with their growth expectations in 2026. And I don't think that growth is going to be coming back like in as big of a way as it was in 2025. And so I think that's the fundamental thing that changed with HIMS is like, hey, they got themselves into trouble trying to keep that growth rate high by pushing their boundaries, and that's fair. But ultimately, it's like, well, they're expecting what, single digit growth. So
I'd have to look back.
it's
It's
for next
not. We're not talking about 50+% growth anymore, and some of that is they still have GLP-1 headwinds. Really through May this year, but like they're effectively they're buying revenue through acquisitions. That's not a bad thing. It's not negative, but you'd also want to see a lot more organic growth. And I mean, they're not. And we saw subscriber growth slow. There's a lot of issues. And like, so the bottom line, like for me, there's just better opportunities elsewhere. Like if the entire market had not fallen and given such opportunities, I probably would have held on HIMS all the way through it. Because again, I don't know that the thesis is broken. It has weakened. My position was pretty small, but I'd rather be in Nebius. I'd rather be in actually a lot of other names. So I'm just going to leave it, of course, on the pretty active watch list. Jarrett's, thank you. 14.9% annualized projected. That sounds right to me. I think he's right. So
it's like if you're going for 14% growth, just buy Wix instead, guys.
Yeah,
you're getting growth rate.
Yeah, Wix, or you can do like something like Nebius growing 500% this year, Figure growing 100%, SoFi growing 40 to 50%, Palantir growing 60 to 70%. Like if you want growth, you can have growth, and some of those names are trading at a premium. Some of them are really not. So, like SoFi, like it's hard. Like I think a lot of our chat owns SoFi, and it's like, okay, SoFi where it's at right now, or HIMS where it's at right now, which is the better opportunity? Well, for me, I think SoFi thesis is very clear. Now, we could chop for a lot longer. We could be rejected from the S&P 500 for eight quarters or something silly. Long term, they're going to do very, very well. They have a lot of catalysts. We're going to see meaningful growth, no matter whether the stock wants to price anything in or not. There we are.
Yep. I want to eventually on this stream, I want to show you a new feature that I've been working on, because it's pretty cool. But we can leave that for the end if you want.
Yeah, let's save it so we'll have a few more people that can see. I like seeing what you're working on. Another headline that I saw today. Let me pull this up.
Let's jump into that. I just made a Nebius video. This is top of mind for me. I don't know how much you've been following Nebius, Roy, but they are joining the Bloomberg 500 index this week. So they're going to be rebalancing that index in 2 days. So Nebius is going to join that. And they also have hired a head of growth, essentially, for North America and also for Asia Pacific. So one person to lead their growth charge. I forget what their actual title is, vice president of something. And then also they are hiring for a data center role in Spain. So potentially you can see a Spanish data center for HIMS or for Nebius.
Yeah, I mean, like I like that they're focusing on Europe too. I think that they not being CoreWeave, like CoreWeave, I think is fine. Like there's nothing wrong with it, but it's American, and there's some anti-American bias right now in Europe, like it or not. So Nebius will benefit from that. But yeah, I don't track Nebius like super closely, especially right now with the dissertation defense in 2 days. I don't have nearly as much time as I'd like that's free, and I probably won't for a couple weeks after either. But I'm glad to own it. It seems pretty clear inference is going to be in demand, despite news. Is there any other Nebius news? And otherwise, we'll talk about the Oracle, NVIDIA, OpenAI data center thing, and
maybe we can get there by way of this as a segue. What did you think of NVIDIA wanting to build their own little OpenClaw for enterprises?
Yeah, I mean, like it's pretty neat. I thought it was kind of a matter of a time that they would get into that. I mean, there's going to be a lot, just because OpenClaw went from not existing to everybody knows about it and is super excited about it. And whenever you have something like that, you're going to have a lot of major companies wanting to make their own version. So the team there at NVIDIA seems very credible, very competent as well. And of course, they have pretty good vertical integration there. So it should be at least good. We'll have to see how amazing it is. It's hard for me because I don't use OpenClaw, like to know. Have you ever used OpenClaw?
No.
Yeah. Like without like actually playing around with it and then looking to see what NVIDIA does. The nice thing with NVIDIA is like they don't just put out demos and that's it. And the product actually is terrible. So I think it should be interesting what that final iteration looks like.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about Oracle. I didn't look at the earnings, but apparently they were good because everything's pumping.
Everything's pumping?
I thought so. I mean, I guess not anymore.
Oh, I thought you meant like after hours.
That's what I meant, but maybe not anymore.
I mean, S&P 500's at negative 0.04%.
Fine.
I see a few things up. VG, all right.
Nebius is up like almost 2%.
Yeah, and so is VG. Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to see. Like these have been like extremely volatile days. We've not really had just a very tame day that hasn't moved very much in a while. It feels like we've had some that have gotten close back to zero. Like today, case in point, it ran really hard, faded towards the end with the Strait of Hormuz and the mines news. We've seen it the other direction too, where it just sells off. Things are looking gloom and doom. This is Monday. Actually ended up being a nice positive day. So just crazy volatility that's happening. One of the factors that added to the volatility, of course, was last week on Thursday, there was news that came out at the time that said, hey, Oracle and OpenAI, of course, had we're going to build a data center as part of the Stargate project in Abilene, Texas, and that Oracle was actually getting out. Now, at the time, NVIDIA just tanked on the news. I think it was down 3 or 4%. Of course, originally, it wasn't Rubin. It was BlackRock is wrong. I can't think of the term.
Blackwell.
Thank you, Blackwell. Yeah, it's like not BlackRock. Blackwell was going to be used for that data center. So it was bearish NVIDIA. But Oracle was flat. And I'm like, well, it's not bullish Oracle either. Essentially, Oracle has way too much debt, and I thought, it makes sense that they're actually going to exit this play. Now, a little bit more to that. We actually came out. We had some more information. Let me throw this up. Let me share just this tab actually again. That's going to be the easiest thing while I'm at one screen. And let me find it. Okay, here we go. So this came out, of course, yesterday, that OpenAI passed on expanding the Abilene site with Oracle because it wanted separate facilities built around NVIDIA's upcoming Vera Rubin chips. Oracle then walked away. NVIDIA put down $150 million deposit on the site and is now in early talks to place it with other big tech tenants like Meta. So it doesn't really sound bearish NVIDIA at all. In fact, it actually sounds positive, which is what I noted. But not, well, I guess before, let me pause on sharing that. I want to give the take of one person that you'll recognize, and I thought it was pretty extreme. But what was your read on that? I guess both on Thursday, what happened, what came out yesterday regarding NVIDIA, and of course NVIDIA funding 150 million of this, or investing 150 million. Like, it's not bearish, right?
No,
Data
it's not.
Yeah.
I don't even know, man. I don't even know what to make of all this funding. Like, I feel like at this point we're sort of in too deep. That there's been so much money that's been, like, all this circular investing has happened for long enough where I wouldn't be surprised if there's more, more like it, I'm sort of desensitized to it right now, because I think the time for concern was 6 months ago when this was only first starting to happen. But now it's just like, if NVIDIA doesn't invest a single other dollar and OpenAI goes to zero, or any one of these falls, like, there's going to be a domino effect across the market because of investments that they made all throughout this time. So I think the investment is going to pay dividends. I mean, I think it's. I mean, we can talk about Anthropic too, but like, it's from using LLMs more and more personally, I get more and more bullish on the total addressable market, and from seeing the rate of improvements across the board from a software perspective, it blows my mind. And I feel like, wow, like, I am underinvested, and even some of these players are underinvested in these massive, CapEx spend to build out the supply, but also in the investments they're making across the board. because I do think that it will be a paradigm shift that everybody will win. Oh, OpenAI, it's like, no, they're not going to go to zero, but they might be like the third biggest search engine or whatever. And so like it's that big of a wave. Now, it could absolutely be a bubble and everything goes to zero and we just don't see it yet. But from what I see, it's quite crazy. And it's complete. I was on the phone with Matt last night and it's totally messed with my head because he's building a product, I'm building a product, and I feel as though you're sort of in this little hamster wheel
Hmm.
where every single day something new comes out and there's most like if I go outside for a walk or to do some tourist shit or exploring, like I come back and there's like four new features that dropped across the board. I'm like, oh my God, I can't keep up. Like I cannot keep up with all the thing. And like everybody's doing their own like GitHub repos and they're open sourcing all their projects. And it's like honestly, man, my X feed is all AI stuff right now. It's not even investing stuff anymore. It's just like all the For You page is just like open claw this, business that, so on and so forth. And it's completely messing with my head because I know it's very echo chambery. And I know that like if I step outside and I talk to 10 people on the street, 10 of
Yeah.
them won't know what the hell Anthropic just dropped today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my, Anthropic just dropped code reviews, guys, but the code reviews cost $15. Let's annualize that by the amount of PRs you do and multiply that by a software engineer and how much are you going to say? Like nobody gives a shit. But like it's just it's one data point in a sea of data points, and it's all so happening so fast that it honestly makes me feel as though like I know I'm ahead of the curve, but you can't help but feeling behind it, right? If you're in it or if you're out of it, if that makes sense. Like I'm sure like what's his name? Karpathy dropped something new and it was really cool. It was like
Yeah.
LLMs that self-train and allow themselves to get better and better. I'm sure
Yeah.
he even feels behind it sometimes. Like it doesn't matter what level, what ring you're on of AI exposure. There's so much happening around you that you cannot help but feel behind.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think probably even like the actual leaders in the field feel the same. Like there's so much happening, you cannot keep up with it. It's tough. Yeah, another. So not everybody thinks this. So there are people, of course, that are still thinking AI is just a big bubble. It's going to blow over. That the ROI is not there. No, this dude works on vacation. He doesn't really vacation. I mean, maybe a little bit, but yeah.
I'm happier. I'm like more tan. Leave me alone. I put out a video for you guys. I apologize. I hadn't put out a video in 3 days. And I'm like, dude, I was telling Matt last night, I was like, dude, I've procrastinated on a YouTube video that I've had ready to go. I just procrastinated on the recording of it for like 3 days because I'm just doing other stuff, you know? But yeah, like I could not be more bullish on Nebius. I could not be more bullish on the stuff that will come out of AI. Cause like if you think about like the production pipeline, Alex Hormozy has this thing where he's like, you're only as good as the weakest part of your like production pipeline chain. So for example, if you're doing a solo business, Roy's solo business, right? The first one, like the first step of the chain is like, what is the product offering? Or and can you build it? Like engineering, design, product, whatever. And then the second part is like, can you package it and can you market it? And then third, and then all that is like SEO and like um, you know, what are the marketing tactics and how do you do UGC and all this other shit? And then and so on and so forth. And then it's like, can you do the accounting? Can you do the financial modeling? Can you do the scaling? Can you do the training of the team? And you're only as good as what is your weakest part of that chain. I could be really good at product, I could be really good at leading a team, I could be really good at XYZ, but I don't know SEO or I don't know marketing or I don't know whatever. And it's just like my business won't get to the level where it needs to get to because there's one part of that like ladder that's missing. AI is going to make it where every single part of that ladder is amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know what that's going to do to businesses. Like, I don't know what that's going to cause for innovation, for creativity, because right now you've commoditized engineering, you've commoditized design, you've commoditized product to a certain degree.
Software engineering, not
Yes.
the other
Well,
things.
yeah, exactly. Right now, we're exclusively talking software. It's a piece of freaking code. You've commoditized the entire building process. Yeah. And like, there's going to be software engineers that like hate me for saying that, but I'm sorry. Like, learn to adapt, I guess. What's next is you have to commoditize to some degree the distribution, and I think you're going to have a unique advantage in the fact that like you personally and me and all these other guys have been building our own distribution network for years. But there's going to come a point in time where AI is going to, I want to give it a budget of $1,000, and it's going to be like, okay, here's my budget. I have to now create a marketing brief, creative brief. I have to go spend that budget to get the best ROI for Tevis in the business. It's going to get there, and a lot in large part, it's already there. But my point is like, you're going to go, imagine the ladder, right? At the top of the ladder is the end of the process. The beginning is the beginning of the process. AI is like down here. And eventually it's going to be here, 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 here. And all of that is going to happen end to end in under a year. So it's going to get good at distribution. It's going to get good at the marketing. It's going to get good at, the sales. It's going to get good at gathering the feedback and creating the whole virtuous cycle. And I think I was looking at a project called Paperclip. So basically what it is, and I know I'm rambling, I'm sorry, but basically what it is like, it's software you're creating a virtual company of agents. And so you have OpenClaw, and let's say I have agent number one, and it's an engineer, agent number two is a designer, agent number three is the marketer or whatever. Paperclip is like the company that connects all the agents. And so the agents talk with each other. And I was just like, holy crap, man, like you're building an entire digital company. And yes, I agree. Like, it is sloppy and blah, blah, blah. People see through it. And yes, it's just, but this is all growing pains, man. This is all like the frontier of the next wave, the next paradigm.
Today's the worst that AI gets.
And so the reason why I'm saying all this, and to bring it back to NVIDIA, like if NVIDIA themselves is rolling out a software product like OpenClaw for enterprise, dude, enterprises have zero, like enterprises are the laggards from an adoption perspective. I forget, I was reading something where they're basically saying like how income, or maybe it was the A16Z report, I think. They were basically saying that like enterprises haven't adopted this AI at all. Like Agentic, forget about it. OpenClaw, forget about it. But they haven't, like, they're slow to adopt even like the LLMs. Like security will get on their ass about it, and it's like, oh well, do we have any vulnerabilities and this and that? And it's just that's a massive opportunity to me. And the fact that the biggest company in the world is saying that's a massive opportunity is further validation of that demand, which makes me feel so freaking good at night when they're investing hundreds of millions, if not billions or hundreds of billions of dollars into this paradigm. Because it's like, I'm super bullish on the individual level of what I can build, and they're super bullish on the macro level of like the landscape that I don't see, but Jensen sees because he's leading the world's biggest company. So TLDR, it's bullish.
Yeah. AI is real. Now, we'll get back to NVIDIA on one more thing in just a moment, but I saw a pretty funny post. Of course, we've talked Palantir a little bit, and let me just add a little bit of Palantir in here. Like Palantir was tasked by Polymarket actually to basically actively scan and look through predictions as they come. This isn't the post, but you can show it up if it's the next thing. And just because there's been a lot of sketchy stuff that happened in prediction markets, just like use case after use case. So anyway, last week I saw the funniest thing that Michael Burry ever put out, which was he's been anti-Palantir, basically saying it's an AI wrapper, it's not an AI company, and it doesn't really do anything, just like as extremely ignorant and bearish as he possibly could be. Clearly doesn't understand what the company does. And then he comes out and he talks about OpenAI and Anthropic and Claude and all these LLMs. And he's like, okay, these are commodities and they hallucinate all the time. And it's hard to extract value, especially in the enterprise scale. They made very little penetration. And so, yeah. And I'm like, so you're making Palantir's bull thesis. Like it just, That's part of the bull thesis. I'm like, I don't understand this guy. Somehow he misses it. So this came out, I think it was today. Yeah, it was today. And he said, regarding this Oracle, OpenAI, NVIDIA thing, the nut of it that is that OpenAI bowed out of the Oracle deal because it wanted NVIDIA Rubin, not the Blackwell, which are two different types of data center builds. True. Oracle borrowed heavily to secure the site and order all the hardware for the build out around Blackwell. And OpenAI, as a customer, said the chips will be dated before the building is even ready. Then NVIDIA got involved and paid $150 million to block AMD from getting the Oracle built contract. This is how NVIDIA throws its weight around to block AMD and use by its customers. It is mafia-like and should be an antitrust case. The Justice Department has been investigating NVIDIA for almost 2 years, but I don't think Trump's DOJ will prosecute NVIDIA. And Oracle and OpenAI are still partners. Meta took the build that OpenAI abandoned, etc. So the Illuminati are also already saying no big deal, but it's absolutely a huge deal. This is playing out as some of us said it would. There are signs showing up in several places, and they're the exact signs we said that would show up. It's actually kind of crazy. I don't think he understands AI at all, and he should probably stop talking. Like, if you look at the comments, I won't pull them up. People can look at them themselves. A lot of people are like, dude, what's wrong with you? So in essence, like, he's saying NVIDIA is the mafia, that they're engaging in antitrust practices by basically providing $150 million towards the project. It's an NVIDIA project, so it's bullish regardless. Like, hey, it's just there to block AMD. Now, AMD has, instead of lots of cash like NVIDIA, just because they're a cash printer, they've had to sell themselves, essentially prostituting themselves, saying, hey, here's some equity from us. Please let us buy from us instead. And they've secured a number of deals just through that. Now, it doesn't mean that AMD has bad products by any means. Like, it's a good company, very good product. But like, all this really is showcasing how exceptional NVIDIA technology is. Of course, the Vera Rubin especially seems like people are incredibly excited about it, and they should be. And then second, how ridiculous that huge cash position is for NVIDIA and what they're able to do with their free cash flow. Like, they can do things that other companies can't do, like 150 million, just casually being like, yeah, here you go, 150 million. It's immense. So yeah, Burry, weird take. It's not antitrust. There's a reason why nothing has come over the DOJ investigation. And his position on Palantir is weird and very ignorant. But I get it. Like, it started out with valuation. Yeah, valuation. He's absolutely right on that. TA, fine, whatever. All the rest of it, for the most part, like, he's not even talking about international. Like, he should be talking about international. Burry, if you want a bear argument, look there. Look at the customer count. Look at the revenue. But anyway, it's like the one chink in the armor for Palantir, but everything else is solid. NVIDIA, like, what are you doing betting against NVIDIA or thinking it's going to go down, that it's all cyclical and it's all going to fall? I feel like he's chasing what happened in 2008 and trying to recreate that. And you're not going to with AI. It's not the same thing. And you're certainly not going to with NVIDIA. So I'm sorry. At best, NVIDIA might be a bit of an opportunity cost because it's been trading like a stable coin. And I don't even think that's going to be the reality. So what about you, Tevis? Like, seeing that, was this your first time seeing that Burry take?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, at this point, man, it's just like every week there's something new with regards to Dr. Burry. And I've sort of stopped listening to a large degree. Like, it seems very much boy cried wolf. But at the same time, like, you're going to say, well, 2008, it seemed like boy cried wolf because he was so early, and like it could be early. And like, sure, he could be, and we're going to see. The arguments, I don't think, make that much sense to me. But again, we're all outsiders looking in.
One of the funniest things too, actually, let me reshare this because Franzi reminded me. The first comment is his. He asked Grok basically who knows more about what they're talking about, him or the people in the comments. And he's like, oh, wow, Grok sided with me. Awesome. Dude, this is not 2023 where it's like, oh, man, AI agreed with me. It's huge. he's lost here. Like I don't know what he's doing. I don't think he knows what he's doing. So
and that's fine. I mean, like, you got to pick and choose, man. Like, I made a post earlier today where I was just like, oh man, Buffett sold Amazon, like, time to get out. It's like, well, how about you look at, 20 investors who opened a position in Amazon this quarter? Like, that's the beautiful thing, man, about like the world that we live in. It is not in a vacuum, and it's so diverse in terms of thought that you have free reign to create your own idols that you want to follow. And if the Burry argument makes sense to you for whatever reason, you hate Palantir, you hate AI, and it's just validation of that hatred, go for it. It's your own money that you're investing. If you lose it, you lose it. If you make money, you make money. And like, that's the game. Like, that's the beautiful thing about the markets. So I don't really agree with Dr. Burry. I don't think that the arguments are strong. I'm not discounting that he is a very smart individual. He could be misguided. Absolutely. I'm also not discounting that there is some emotional component here of having had that success, having been the guy, and they've made a freaking movie with like him as like the guy, and then there's this pressure on you to try to find the next thing. AI is bigger than any of the other like waves that we've had, in my opinion. Because like, what are the waves? It's like the internet, it's mobile, it's cloud. You could make an argument, metaverse, and like AI. Like, I think AI is the biggest one of all. And so it's just like, dude, if you can't find a contrarian pick to be the guy here, then it's just like, you can't do it anywhere.
So, something. I mean, like, there's plenty of opportunities there, even if you don't want to touch tech at all. Like, it really is. And he is long on a few things too. A few of you are commenting and saying he's a good value investor, and maybe he's made some great picks in the past. He's made a whole lot of wrong predictions, and like, the thing is, if you're a perma bear, and I wouldn't say he's quite a perma bear, but he's pretty close. The natural bias of the market is up and to the right, and if you are against that, you better be really good, because even the best people there that are very smart, I'm not saying he's unintelligent, they're fighting against the natural bias of the market. So it's tough. So can you throw up Clipgrid's comment? It goes right here. What are your guys' thoughts on AMD long term?
Hold on. Before I throw that up, Superstar said this, and then Kryptonite said this on your chat. Exactly the same thing on two different chats. Are these the same person?
It's the same person, different names. Yeah. He's watching both streams. Appreciate the view.
Look, Superstar/Kryptonite said differently, 99.99% of hedge fund managers, mutual fund managers, and portfolio managers do not post any social media. Ask yourself, why are we talking about the 0.01% that does? Do you know why, Superstar/Kryptonite? It's because that's the only one we can talk about.
Yeah.
Like, I can only give my opinion on something that happens. I can't give my opinion on nothing. And so if I don't know what they're doing, I can't have a thought about what they're doing.
Yeah. Can you throw up Clipgrids at 654? Well, you're not an East. What are you guys' thoughts on AMD long term? I like Lisa Su. I like AMD. I just prefer NVIDIA, and I like a super concentrated portfolio enough. If I was the type of guy where I wanted to like triple my number of positions and hold 30 names, AMD would probably be one of them. I think it's a very solid company, and obviously they're going to grow very well too. I think NVIDIA is a stronger company. I think Jensen Huang is a stronger CEO. And that's not to say Lisa Su's bad or AMD's bad. It's one of the best companies, if not the best, on the planet. And it's one of the best CEOs, if not the best, on the planet too. So I'm going to pick the best. Now, AMD, of course, when I initially started my NVIDIA position, AMD's up relative to where I am in NVIDIA, although NVIDIA is up very nicely too. So I could be wrong, but yeah.
That's
What are your thoughts on AMD, if you have any?
It's not a matter of me being bearish on any company involved with AI. It's just, to what varying degrees of bullish am I? It's not like, oh, I think AMD is going to go to zero and NVIDIA is going to go to the moon. It's like, they're both going to do very well. Which one is going to do better is the real question,
Yeah. note that we talked Palantir there too. And yeah, there was one other deal. I saw a couple people comment on this. I actually didn't see this today, but NVIDIA and Thinking Machines Lab announced long-term gigawatt scale strategic partnership. It is for at least 1 gigawatt of the next generation Vera Rubin systems. Probably part of the reason why NVIDIA was up, in addition to the other news and macro stuff too. So with that said, anything else on NVIDIA, AI, Oracle, ChatGPT, Anthropic, Palantir that you wanted to touch on before we move on?
No. Anthropic, the code review, man, that's interesting. So they released this function where you can do code reviews and like systematically through AI, but everybody's complaining that it's like super expensive in terms of token cost and compute cost to do this. And it's just like, okay, guys, first of all, these guys are disrupting full ass businesses that charge tens of, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for these services. Like, okay, they're gone now. Second of all,
not going to be $20 a month for that.
Yeah. Second of all, these guys are disrupting professions of engineers who maybe get through, 2 or 3 code reviews a day, let's say, and now it's like a fraction of the cost. And third, this is going to get way better, and it's going to get whittled down because guess what? Codex is going to come out tomorrow, and they're going to announce this feature, and Google is going to come out the next day and they're going to announce this feature, and whatever, so on and so on and so forth. I think it's so exciting, man, because I'm like, dude, I like people complaining to me that a code review for $20 is too expensive is so rich, because first of all, you're being subsidized to the tune of $5,000 a month for Anthropic. Like they posted this. They're like, hey, if you are paying $200 a month, which is the highest plan, we have some users, not everybody, but there's some users who like use $5,000 of tokens for the month, and they're like, cool, we're going to subsidize that. We're going to eat the cost just to get you hooked. And so it's just like, okay, well, if you're paying $200 a month, who gives a like, who cares if it's $20 for the code review? Because like that, you have an upper cap as to what you're like. Anthropic's going to foot the bill for the rest for right now. And so I don't know, man, I just think it's such a cool time to be alive, because there's so many interesting things happening. Like tomorrow, another business could be entirely disrupted by Anthropic or by Codex or whomever else.
Yeah, we're like in the Wild West of AI right now. So, and also predictions market and eventually robotics. It's a fun time to be alive, not a dull time at all. There's problems, sure, but yeah. All right. So one other name that I wanted to for sure touch on today, and let me note where it's here, is Figure. Now, this is not Figma. A lot of people do confuse that ticker with the other. Let me share with you a tab. Yeah, that'll work right there. And I ended up actually doing a deep dive on this. Long overdue. Figure is one of those that when you first look into it, it's like, oh yeah, this is pretty simple. And the thesis is actually really simple and straightforward, but they're doing so much and there's a complexity to it that it takes a while to understand. And by the time you understand, then they launch the next thing. And it's like, okay, what in the world are they doing now? So what I really like about this, though, you can see that price at the top. That isn't like a fake price or anything. That was a price when Figure came out. Do you know what Figure did today, Tevis, or where it's at now?
Yeah, it's like what, $34 or something. It went up quite a bit. It went up like 15% today or something like that.
It's up 21.29%. It's now nearly $40 a share, $39.64 after hours.
Jeez, man.
Super high beta name, and like largely what there's a few different things. Like Figure is actually like, I don't know. It's pretty entertaining. There is some risk there. And I hope to interview the founder, but like the founder is Mike Cagney, the original founder of SoFi as well. And like the very simple thesis, and like if you guys are curious about it, read my deep dive. Artemis, which I think I linked theirs as well, has a really good deep dive too, which goes more onto the analytics side. But there aren't many companies that understand traditional finance, the needs, what the market is, where the market is most inefficient, and what they can do as far as regulation, and also natively understands crypto. There's not a lot of companies, and Figure is basically that company. They built a whole platform around HELOCs initially, now a whole lot of other stuff too, which is growing rapidly. Now they're growing basically 100% year over year. Smaller, it's off of a smaller base, so they're not going to do that every year. Mike Cagney, I think, said 50% is what he's expecting for the compound annual growth rate over the next 3 or 4 years, which I'll take 50% revenue growth. That's okay, especially because they're profitable. So heavily shorted. They had some execution missteps, some things beyond their control that also happened too, but a lot of things going right. And so today, it was several things came together. So you had the day that was giving high beta names a premium. Today was actually IPO unlock day, is 180 days after the IPO. So they're actually able to sell shares. And usually when you see that, you'll see a lot of downward pressure, selling pressure on names. Now, Mike had said on record, I think shortly after, or maybe shortly before earnings a couple of weeks ago, he said 4.6 out of the 5 million shares that we had planned to sell as individuals within the business, we've pulled back. We're not going to do that. The price is ridiculous. They even started a small buyback, which I don't especially love, but where a Figure was at in the 20s, it was like, this is disrespectful. Right here, it feels fair value to me personally. If it goes up to 75 or 80 bucks again, I'll probably take some profits off the table. It's about a 6% position for me. So you had the unlock day. HELOCs and actually rates for mortgages continue to fall, which is bullish for Figure as well. And then they had a guy that presented their CCO at Cantor Fitzgerald and said just a whole lot of stuff that I think just really helped. So one of the things that they said, which I think SoFi would actually really benefit from, and I think it would help them immensely, is they came right out and they said, okay, they were asked about private equity, because everybody's asking if they're a lender in the space about private equity, about contagion risk, about blue owl, and the impact, if things go wrong. And they said, okay, there's a lot of reasons why we're completely fine and we're not touched by this. And they basically listed them. And some of them are like, okay, I'll have to think about that. I hadn't thought that way. And some of them are just clear and obvious. SoFi, I think, could and should probably do the same thing. I think that's the biggest thing that's actually weighing on the stock right now, and other names that are in lending too. You'll see the same pressure. But once there's that clarity, I think it helps. Now, the other thing that I thought was interesting, and also is bullish for SoFi too, is they clarified, which I already knew because I had asked the CEO. He had a AMA at one point. I was like, okay, any impact from the Clarity Act, no matter what happens on yields or stablecoin. Now, their stablecoin is very unique because it's the first SEC registered stablecoin. It's actually considered a security. And the reason why is the yield actually on that yield stablecoin is derived from the blockchain assets. They're a crypto company that basically uses cryptocurrency to empower their lending, saving a lot of time and money as well. But then you can see right there on the blockchain ledger that they have, very vertically integrated with it. And so their yields does not match what other stablecoins necessarily have. But again, even if the Clarity Act comes out and banks get their way and all of a sudden you can't issue yield on stablecoins, they are an exception. And we talked about this, I think, on Friday too. So for Tevis, which was SoFi USD, is also an exception. SoFi doesn't run that issue. So no matter what happens with Clarity, whether it's good, bad, neutral, whatever, they're completely fine. They also went into other risk, like tricolor risk. They do have some loans basically using crypto, again, as a source of lending. Like somebody who has a lot of Ethereum or Bitcoin doesn't want to sell it, they'll lend against it. They do that, but it's a very small, it's like 6% of their entire portfolio. And they basically reiterated, with tricolor and everything, unlike that sort of lending environment, they have 24/7 opportunity, and they have built-in smart contracts as well to unwind these things if they ever need to. But they're not at that point. It's called atomic settlement. So it's kind of like the nuclear option that they have 24/7, completely fine. So anyway, they basically said hey, there's really not risk here. I don't know why the market is being silly, and the market believed them. At the same time as there's a lot of things that are bullish that are happening in that space, and they're growing rapidly. So I hope SoFi will do something along that line and talk about the risks with private equity and how they're impacted. Maybe they're impacted just a little bit more, but I think that they're also differentiated both in terms of their lending. I think the loan platform business is really probably where a lot of the questions would be right now, right? Just because if Blue Owl's having problems, Noto did allude to this on the earnings call, but it's been a little while where he basically said, hey, this is a different loan type. It's a different bucket. We're not seeing demand actually shrink. I don't remember the exact words, but it's something along that. But it would probably be a good thing if they reiterate that. Do you remember if SoFi has any conferences that are coming up? It seems to me that they do in the next week or two. But regardless, whether it's at a fireside chat or it's just on X or it's data-driven investing listening to us right now and saying, hey, that's a great idea. Whatever that looks like, get that out there. It's not going to like go up to like $40 a share instantly. It's not going to have a 20% day like figure, but the SoFi is a credible business. They don't overpromise. They always deliver. And if they're like saying, hey, if the market is disrespecting us because of risk, it's frankly just not there. Here's why. That would be helpful.
Yeah. So are you buying more?
Yes. A figure. I actually bought more today. And I had to sell some. So I'm out of cash. I have like $1,000 of cash total, like across 4 portfolios. So it's nothing. I can't do anything with it. It's just from selling covered calls, a little bit of money coming in each week too. It's annoying. So I was like, okay, out of my fintech bucket, out of my crypto bucket, what am I willing to cut right now? And I don't want to cut anything. I'm not bearish anything. I think everything that I'm holding in fintech is undervalued. But I ended up cutting Nubank. I just thought, okay, Nubank might have like a 2 or 3% day and figure it'll be up 10%. So I did that this morning. And it's weird. Like, that's one of the things I love as a creator. It usually doesn't happen this way. But when you're like, hey, here's my deep dive, figures 27.55 or whatever, and the thing like it just freaking rockets and it's $40, I'm like, all right, cool. That's not me like saying good. Like I identified Figure like a long time ago as a quality company, but it just one of those things. I can't time the market, but sometimes the market just gives you a win. So it's pretty great.
Take it, man. Yeah. I don't have any Figure, but again, I don't have any Wix either. And these are both named, or I don't have any Figma either. And I think that's up as well. These are all names that we talked about. We wanted to buy into. I mean, and we just didn't have money. And like, honestly, Roy, it's just such a lesson to actually have cash on the side. Cause like for me, I had lots of cash on the side. I had like double-digit percentage of my portfolio cash on the side, but that was all locked up with cash secured puts. Yeah. And because I'm so aggressive on the puts, I got like underwater on that. And so I was holding a big cash position, but it was all accounted for. And then it got to a point where I was just spending the cash that was accounted for and then rolling the puts out. And it's just not a healthy place to be. So yeah, I think like my lesson in the last 6 months is to be more patient, because the market will just give you deals. And like I remember, man, we were talking about, and if we go back and rewind to like bootleg in August or September, you know, we were like, there's no deals. Like it's just so hard to find deals, and like we're chasing and whatnot. And lo and behold, you know, 2 months later, 1 month later, whatever, it's like, oh, there's too many deals. There's not enough cash. It's like, dude, crazy.
So. And at the time I did have some cash to deploy, but it got deployed, you know, earlier than it probably should have. But I mean, you never know when a dip is going to end, and we've seen a lot of these reverse really rapidly. Like we might be, I don't think that we're near that necessarily, but like we might be weeks away. We don't know. It could, you know, things could be over and resolved in Iran actually much sooner than we expect. Nobody knows, not even the president. But yeah, I remember at the time you were writing like cash secure puts at like, maybe I'm wrong, but like $37 on SoFi. And it's not even, and I'm like, bro, why are you being so aggressive and degenerate? But yeah, I like having some cash. I usually do write cash secured puts on my cash, but I do it so conservatively that maybe over the course of an entire month, I'm getting a 1% yield. Usually a little bit better than that. Otherwise, I just leave it in cash. But and I make sure like if it's in a name that I want to hold anyway at just a stupid price. And like what especially around earnings season, like it seems every single week if I have some cash, actually I always insist on having cash freed up in time for earnings season, because even if we're not in the present macro, which is giving ridiculous deals, every quarter there's a name that I like that gets hit and pummeled, and I think it's silly and overdone, and I'm like, I can't buy it because I don't have cash. So the last, I think, 3 or 4 quarters, I made sure that I have a decent chunk of cash, not massive, but yeah. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, cash I think is a position. It's nice to have, especially in a market like this that's just so volatile. So yeah, I will be buying more figure, but it's as cash comes in at this point. I don't really want to cut Nubank anymore. Like I want to keep BMNR. I don't want to trim anything from Robinhood at all. Yeah, it's tough. All right. Anything else you want to cover before Q&A?
No, man. Let's do some Q&A. If you guys have questions, then definitely throw them in, and I'll do my best to bookmark them. And I eventually want to show Roy this feature as well, because I think it's pretty cool, and I don't know what Roy's going to think. So you guys can get to make fun of me if this thing breaks in production, which it probably will. But every week, a new feature to break in production and show you guys. This is not like live on the site yet, so yeah, it's gonna be fun. All right, when am I taking steroids? Probably never. Sorry, superstar. As much as I want to be jacked, I also don't want to be hooked on drug. And plus, in the future, you might have way more efficient drugs to make me jacked with fewer side effects. Yeah. So probably not on the steroids train. Is it a good price to enter Nebius at $97? I think it really depends on what your goals are. I have purchased shares of Nebius higher than $97. I've purchased it as high as 108. I think I've purchased it as high as like 115 even. So personally, I'd be a hypocrite to say that this is a bad price because I have purchased it higher than this. At the same time, my cost basis on Nebius is like $80. So you could have had it way cheaper, but you could have also had it way more expensive. It was at 130 in November before it fell in December. So when you compare it with that, like you're getting a 30% discount, but it really depends on your goals. None of this is financial advice. This is just what I would do if I were in your shoes and I didn't already have a position.
Yeah. And again, this is not financial advice, but what I did initially with Nebius is I wrote cash secured puts. Sadly, they didn't fill, and I just turned around and bought. But the premiums, if you're not in options, don't do options. Don't mess with options. Make sure you understand them. Even with cash secured puts, there is a risk. Although it's pretty small, but make sure you know what you're doing. But if you're familiar with options, maybe consider looking at cash secured puts and at least baking the premium. Now the thing could reverse and run on you a good bit, but the premiums are great either way. I've been actually selling covered calls on
them. Dead. It crapped out during a video that I did earlier today too, and I was just like, why do I buy these little things where I charge it fully? And it doesn't even last through. I mean, it just lasts an hour. It's just like so annoying. Anyways, doesn't matter. Next question. Or did you have something more to add on that, Roy?
No.
Sorry, I totally interrupted you. Simon says, have you tried a router instead of a potato? Sir, I am in South America.
They have plenty of potatoes. Home of the potato, in fact.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not necessarily, what is it? Is it Idaho?
No, the Incan Empire. So like up in the Andes that people first cultivated the potato.
I don't mean globally. I mean, in the States, I think it's Idaho, no?
Oh, yeah. Idaho's enough for potatoes, but they grow about anywhere. They're one of the most nutritionally complete and advantageous crops out there. Yeah. And we used to think that they were poison for cattle. I've got, so I'm not going to tell them here. Maybe this is a Friday thing, but when I first started working at the university and my supervisor's supervisor was coming by just to, meet those that were kind of newer to the position that I got moved into. They asked like what I was reading, and I was like, oh, I'm reading this book, and it's about like history and horticulture and all sorts of different things. And they're like, oh, well, what's something that was interesting? And so I told them this potato anecdote, and they were like, wow, that's incredible. I was like, yeah, come back tomorrow and I'll tell you another one. For 30 days, maybe longer, like every single day I had some potato factoid, and a lot of them I knew, but some of them I also had to like confirm and look up. So yeah, it's an interesting. I've grown a lot of potatoes too. So yeah, they're amazing.
That's super. Yeah, I mean,
They're all cloned, Tevis.
Cloned?
Yeah, almost every single potato that you eat is a clone
of another potato.
A genetic clone. We actually don't plant potato seeds, with rare exceptions these days. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
That's very interesting.
I got a lot of them. So yeah.
Yeah, Roy is now Mr. Potato Head.
Soon to be Dr. Potato Head, sir.
Dr. Potato Head to you, Steve. All right.
Oh no.
Okay, there's some comments I definitely don't want to throw up. Charles says, asked us a few months ago, HIMS or BMNR to $100 first?
BMNR.
I think we answered this before.
Yeah. Yeah, BMNR. I mean, like HIMS could squeeze. It always has high short interest. BMNR does have some, though. I like BMNR. I think it's a lot more clear. It's just, when does Ethereum take off? There's a lot going for it. I actually did a video yesterday, I believe, Tevis, on BMNR, and some of it related to the new bear thesis that came out last week. But there's also some interesting things, like essentially the bear case is the Fusaka update was too good. Did you see the? Yeah. And so it's like, oh, the gas fees are way lower. And like, okay, this is Javon's paradox in action, that as things get cheaper, they get used more. It's bullish Ethereum. Like, it's not the stupidest bear case on BMNR I've ever seen. Like, the stupider one was, I think it was Citron, who was like, we're long Ethereum and we're short BMNR. I'm like, okay, what are you doing?
Yeah, just is this the same guy who said Anthony Noto buying was bearish because he's only buying to prop up the stock? Because it sounds like the same argument.
I get them confused. Yeah, there's Citron, there's Citrini, there's one other that starts with a C.
I meant that user who was just like, Anthony Noto buying is bearish. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
That dude. Yeah.
It's the same guy.
No, it might as well been, but yeah.
Roy just went up massively in my estimations with all this potato knowledge. I'm not even joking. Roy, you are a superstar in Simon's.
Just wait until I tell you about the Franco-Prussian War, potato, and of course how it was used in the French court.
Bro, I feel like you need a history podcast. Like Dan Carlin, watch out. Express Investing says, where can you get potato seeds? Just bury a potato. You know what? Mark Wahlberg taught me that one in The Martian. Yeah. So there you go.
Technically, that's not a seed, but that's the clone. They do have seeds. You can grow them. Too much potato stuff. So,
I mean, what is a seed really? How do you define a seed? Because a clone could be a seed.
There's a very specific botanical definition. So
I'm not going to play this game. I'll lose.
But yeah, the Martian is a great. I read it as a book, and when it came out as a movie, I was so excited. It's like, I think the book is just slightly better, but man, it's great. So if you guys haven't seen it, I recommend.
Yes, I meant Matt Damon. Sorry, guys, not Marky Mark. I meant Matt Damon.
Oh no.
All right, next question. Did Tevis sell HIMS at the bottom? Yes. The last tranche of HIMS I sold at like $50.15. So you guys should follow me to know what all the contrarian plays are, because I definitely sold HIMS at that last tranche I sold at the bottom. Did you mention NVIDIA and Thinking Machines partnership?
We talked about it briefly. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've heard Thinking Machines. I'm not familiar with them, I won't say. I recognize the name. That's about it. I read the press release. I don't know much about them. I'll just be honest.
Yeah.
But a gigawatt is a gigawatt. So Vera Rubin, great.
Yeah, honestly, if you had that on a shirt, I would buy it.
A gigawatt is a gigawatt. Yeah.
Just
the math is mathing.
Yeah. Potatoes are not a seed. Potatoes weekly. Yeah, with Dr. Potato Head himself. Any thoughts on Poet technology? Chart looks good on a monthly time frame.
I've never liked it, and I don't know. I've not followed the company much, but in 2023, they were basically paying people to pump the stock, and I just stay away from companies that do that. It could be legit and amazing and great. When I last looked at it, probably 6 months ago, it looked like it had gone on a pretty good run. So yeah, do your own due diligence, but that always just scares me off of a company. So ticker symbol U is one of those, and his was not quite as bad because he actually did deep dives, but there's others as well on X that will constantly pump, and then they'll have the same little disclaimer afterwards as well. I haven't seen them do it recently, but I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at the comments. It would work well. Would it work well with creating macros for Excel? I'm not sure what this is about. Maybe coding.
I think it was Anthropic's new offering, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe NVIDIA. Igor says Anthropic, so you would be better equipped to answer that, Tevis. Yeah, Jonathan says, I'd like a weekly show about gardening. There are some out there. There's some really good ones. Like in COVID, there was 3 things that I had time to branch out for that I didn't before. One was individual investing. One was gardening. And man, I went from being a pretty decent gardener to it was pretty incredible what we were able to do with actual time. And the other was play ukulele. So
to answer Igor's question, yes, I think Claude would work very well for creating macros with Excel. I created several Chrome plugins, and it basically just one-shot them. I do know that Claude has out-of-the-box functionality. I think Microsoft actually announced news this week that they integrated with Claude. Did you know this, Roy? Where here? Maybe I think I have it on my profile. I posted about this.
While you're looking for it, Bab Tamori says Claude Excel extension does not do macros. You need to copy and paste them, but it's still better than Copilot.
I don't know if you saw this, but Satya said announcing Copilot Co-work.
I did.
A new way to complete tasks in Microsoft 365. You hand off a task to Co-work, and it turns into a plan. Blah 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 blah.
The work.
Okay, hold on. So you can see everything that happens here, and very cool. So this is working in Excel right now, and this user here says Microsoft just launched a competitor to Anthropic that's powered by Anthropic. 400 million plus Microsoft users will now use Claude to do their work for them. Automates work tasks across every 365 product. Describe an outcome. They chose Claude as the best model. Massive win for Anthropic. Copilot makes $20 billion plus per year. So yeah, I think Claude is, to my knowledge, the forefront model right now from a knowledge perspective, at least from the coding side of things. So could you do it with I'm sure you could find a way to do it for macros. I haven't really looked into macros specifically myself, but if you actually remove the macros, so this is something that I don't know if this is relevant. Dude, I feel like more and more I do these pods, the more and more I form ADHD, because my brain is just going in all these different directions. But what I was going to say is I think you might be solutioning a little bit on the macros piece. So one exercise that I do with my teams is I always try to bring them back to the problem space. What is the thing that you're trying to solve? And then work your way up from there, as opposed to saying, oh, can I do a macro for this? Because there could be a way to do it in a much cleaner way if you problem frame as opposed to being solution oriented. The solution of what you're trying to achieve might not be a macro at all. It could be something completely different. So you just have to go back and ask yourself, okay, what is the problem that I'm trying to solve? and then work through that with Claude. Because if Claude is, let's say, bad at doing macros for Excel for whatever reason, which I haven't looked into, but you're defaulting to that as a solution, you're going to get defeated because you're going to say, okay, well, it doesn't do this particular thing that I need. But it could actually solve your problem in a more streamlined, efficient way that's not a macro, and it might be easier for you to do it at the end of the day. So try it that other way and then see what works for you. I swear to God, I should be like a spokesperson for Claude at this point. Joseph Kelly says, I'm Irish, so I'm enjoying the stream about potatoes. And let's see. I'm just going to go back and bookmark some other stuff. All right. Black Dragon says, what call are we buying?
Yeah, I've avoided options right now. Like if the market gives us another leg down further, I would look for Robinhood options at some point. If my figure position gets filled out, I might buy some options there too. If it goes a little bit lower than where it is, frankly. But yeah, usually these days I'm just buying shares. You buying any options, Mr. Degen?
No, I haven't bought any options.
I actually did buy one NVIDIA option last month. It's just a singular one. They are not cheap though, but I just don't want to do a lot of options right now. But I'm like, okay, NVIDIA, I still need to buy more shares, but I'm like, let me get, at least one option. It's the only option I have on NVIDIA, but just to get that ball rolling.
Certified AI dev, kind of cool name. It says, Tevis, sorry to break it to you, but the vibe coded app you built is not the quote software engineering you're referring to. I've worked at Fortune 50 for 6+ years, and that's only 20% of what we do. Yeah, I'm not saying it's like the end-to-end experience is going to remove Fortune 50 companies. So I've worked in tech for about a decade now, and predominantly in startups. I think the thing that makes me excited, other than the fact that I'm a non-technical person able to do technical things, even if it's shittily right now, even if it's inefficient spaghetti code on the back end that won't really scale without serious engineering effort, it's a positive validation for me to be able to do it because it gives me encouragement to see this through and continue pursuing it. It's like when you're a kid and you draw something and you show it to your parents or your friend or your teacher or something, and they're like, oh my God, that's really good. That's really promising. It makes you want to draw more things because you're like, oh wait, I'm good at this thing. That's number one. It's an encouraging factor that's going to inspire more people to try to do it themselves. Number two is what Roy said. This is the worst that it's ever going to be. And so if you can zoom out and you can look at the forest for the trees, you can say like, wow, there is like maybe today it is only 20%, but there's going to come a day very soon that it's 30%, and another day where it's 40 and 50 and 60. And those days are coming. That's the direction that this is going into. So I'm under no illusion that this little vibe-coded app that I built is going to like topple Bloomberg, but it's more than I could do yesterday and it's less than I can do tomorrow. And for me, that's good enough. Anyone storing cash in STRC? Dr. Potato Head?
No, that's the MicroStrategy private equity thing, I think.
I think so. Yeah, it's like the yield one.
It's interesting. Like we'll see. Like I see very strong opinions on it. I don't have an opinion either way, but it is pretty intriguing what they've been able to do, what they've offering. If you're like thinking about it, D-Man, look and see what bears say and see if they have more credibility than the bulls or vice versa. But there's good information on both sides there. Or to paraphrase, very fine people on both sides. Sorry. Couldn't resist.
I have to sneak that one in. All right. Let's see. Pedro says, if you didn't already have positions in Nebius, would you enter today without any doubt? It remains a good deal. Personally, me as Tevis, yes, I would, because I think the market is still misinterpreting what the business can be and the direction that they're going into. So I think that there's still alpha with investing in Nebius at this price because the market is giving a serious discount as a result of the execution risk. But what we've known for Nebius is they sandbag similar to SoFi and they over deliver similar to SoFi. So personally, I would still be investing in Nebius if I didn't hold a position.
Yeah, I think it's there's no guarantees, but there's two things that lead me to actually want to buy more Nebius too. But I'm out of cash. There's other things that is more pertinent that I buy now because I have a decent enough position. One is the capex constraints of some of the hyperscalers that they will wait on buying more capability for inference in house. Like they'll buy some, they'll use some, but I think that they'll be dependent for longer on even bare metal providers like CoreWeave. Nebius is more than that. They're doing the NeoCloud thing. Iron's kind of a hybrid. Yeah, so there's that. And then the other factor is like we're so early in AI, like things will get more efficient, which is, hey, that's great. But like, okay, so let me back up. Oh, there's a lot of efficiency that has happened over the last year and that will continue to happen. Now, if that's all that there was, it's still bullish with Nebius and with that sort of play, not just Nebius, simply because of Javon's paradox. That basically the cheaper things get, and especially when they become commoditized and razor thin margins and everything, which I think Nebius will always be able to command somewhat of a premium just because of their offering. And it's more than just bare metal, like the NeoCloud, the token factory, like it's an interesting play. But regardless, they'll be fine in that scenario. But the reality is you have that happening, which is broadening adoption, while at the same time, most things that are launched that are brand new are not efficient at all. Tevis was just talking about one like 20 or 30 minutes ago, Anthropic's new offering, where it's like, it just eats tokens. I mean, that's amazing for Nebius. And there's going to be so many things that we like the OpenClaw type of moments, which we're not like even thinking about, which nobody's really doing, that just appear like late this year and next year and the year after that. So like both factors are true, that some of those use cases have been around for a long time and get more efficient, driving adoption, which is good and provide stability. And all the new stuff, the cutting edge stuff, is going to absolutely expand token usage too. So it's bullish, unless you believe AI is just a fad. I don't. Like, I've used it, not to the level of this guy, but so yes, I would enter today. The way I'd enter is probably sell a cash secured put, but like for 95 or something. So pretty aggressively.
I would not have been nearly as bullish as I am on AI if I wasn't like also bullish as a consumer. Yeah. If I hadn't fallen into the rabbit hole of sorry, I was just reading comment. If I hadn't fallen into the rabbit hole of like trying it myself, I wouldn't have been so bullish. And I feel like the biggest pushback I get right now is from developers and designers, like technical people who are like, oh yeah, it's like a really cool toy. And I'm like, guys, and I'm getting this from like my teams. I'm like, guys, you just don't like, I'm sure it's a spectrum, right? Of somebody's right sometimes and some other person's right the other times, where I could be completely on the freaking delusional scale of saying this is, I'm inflating it more than it should be inflated because I'm in an echo chamber and blah, blah, blah. You can say all the things. Or it could be that the people who are the incumbents currently are delusional about it on the other side of things. Like the developers and the designers are like, hey, you can never replace what I do. And there's like an aura of they don't want it to be true because that invalidates a lot of their function. But I think that's a very black and white way of seeing it. And so the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I'm probably overhyping it up for where it is right now, and they're probably discounting it for where it is right now. But the trend is your friend in terms of AI if you're an adopter or if you're bullish on it, because the pace of innovation is unlike anything I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure I said this on this pod before. Like, I tried windsurf back in last year or late 2023, but I think 2024, and that was like truly a toy. I was like, oh, cool. Like, wow, I built a landing page and it's kind of clunky and it's kind of like whatever. But I was like, yeah. And then that's how it stuck in my mind until I tried Claude Code myself. And I was just like, holy crap. Like the level of growth in such a short period of time, 1 year, was staggering. And I saw where it was and I saw it now. And now I'm using it every single day. And I'm like, dude, in a year, it's gonna be way more. So like to the AI engineer guy who said, you know, I'm like too excited about it or whatever. Like I think like, yeah, sure, it's only 20% of what a Fortune 50 company does from an engineering department today, but tomorrow it's gonna be 30 or 40%. And all that bodes well for Nebius. All that is gonna be more demand because the use cases are gonna broaden. And as the use cases broaden, all of a sudden the demand is gonna broaden. And so it's a brave new world, man. It's a brave new world.
It's like the internet in that way. You know,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, all right. Thoughts on Joby with the US launch?
I guess they were selected to be part of a pilot program here in the United States, and that was yesterday. Or it would have been yesterday, yeah. Which is really good for Joby. Joby's done a lot of things well. I investigated them. I did a pretty good deep dive, but it's been a year and a half ago, and a lot has changed in the eVTOL space. And I actually liked Archer a little bit better at the time, just because I was like, okay, engineering is great for Joby, and they're very vertically integrated. If it works, it's going to work big. I like the partnerships that Archer had a little bit more. I've actually reversed since then. I think Archer actually sued Joby today. Actually, let me, yeah. That's why that they came under pressure here. Archer accuses Joby of fraud over alleged China ties and air taxi legal battle. Archer has done weird, sketchy things a bunch of times, and there's probably absolutely no credibility in this. Like, this is an Israeli company. Joe Ben is from Israel as well. I mean, it doesn't mean that there's no Chinese ties, but they've been pretty much above reproach versus, like, there's been a lot of sketchy stuff with Archer if you look underneath the surface. So I don't really want to invest in the eVTOL space. I have thought about swing trading Joby a couple of times, but
Yeah.
I haven't, and I don't have any cash. And I'd rather just, while there's lots of bargains, I'd rather just focus on those. But I mean, at some point, like, eVTOLs, like, you're seeing a lot of headlines, and there's the one thing is there's like 50 of these little companies. Joby and Archer are the two that I know best, but there's a bunch of others as well. And, like, who's going to be the winner in this space? It's like too early to tell. And we're a little ways away from, like, really mainstream adoption. Now, we could start seeing them actually become not super common, but it'll be kind of like early Tesla moments where you're like, oh, wow, look, there's an eVTOL. Oh, there's another one. Uh, Before they become common, like, that's like 2 or 3 years away. So, but I like what Joby's been doing. Congratulations to the Joby Bulls. I wish the prize was higher for you guys. Lots of guys that are in Palantir are also in Joby, so, especially in Korea.
I'm not French and I'm not into HIMS, and I don't think I'm going to get back into HIMS anytime soon. But I wish everybody luck and prosperity with HIMS.
That was awkward.
Yeah, it's like Frenchy. I think it's because of the mustache, but I gotta blend in, man, with my Latino people, and so the mustache is the look down here, and many people are rocking it, you know. So
Yeah.
Roy and Sunburned have, see, this is where I don't blend in because I'm freaking sunburned. They're like, this guy doesn't belong here. What will the geopolitical situation look like regarding Iran?
I mean, we talked about that earlier. Go back to, like, the first 16 minutes of the podcast, and we talked about our thoughts. We're amateurs there. So just treat especially that as just like two random guys that you overhear in a park somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We know more about potatoes than we do about Iran, unfortunately.
Facts.
Okay. Third Splash Bro, love the name, says, I have no coding experience. Is it worth it to switch from ChatGPT to Claude? I feel like vibe coding will be a great skill to learn. Okay, let me tell you honestly. And dude, you can tell my excitement because this is all I freaking want to talk about. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think if you treat it as a project, first of all, that you want to build something, and if you just start playing around with it, I work in tech, but I would say I've learned way more in the last 2 to 3 weeks using this thing and trying to like having problems that I have to solve myself without anybody helping me. I've learned way more about technical aspects on the tactical level about building products than by being a product manager in the tech space. Like I know the terminology, I know the architecture of how things play well with each other, but then going one level beneath that, I've never had to do that. I always have systems architects, I always have senior engineering leads, design leads, whatever, that they take it from there and then they go into tactical level for me. And so it's really helpful because it's hands-on practice with this stuff. So I wouldn't focus so much on what the output is of what you build, although it's going to be cool. I would focus more on the process of how you get there. And I was telling this to Matt the other night while I was on the phone. I was like, man, like even after these 2 weeks, if I started from scratch to build something else, I would cut down. I told this to Matt. I was like, man, there should be like a teachable course uh for vibe coding because I was like, I've spent days figuring out stuff because I just didn't know how to phrase something the right way or ask it the right way or architect it the right way. And like, oh, clearly I've been storing all my data wrong. Clearly I haven't been doing this in the most efficient, industry standard way possible because I just don't know that. So if I do it again, I could architect it in a much more simple way, whatever the new thing is, because I've had that experience. And I think that firsthand experience, that way of thinking, is going to make you super valuable in the market because this is the direction the market is going. And for you to have experience that you've actually like played around, you've built something, like that says so much more to me as a hiring manager than somebody who's just like, oh yeah, like AI is cool. Like I ask ChatGPT about stuff from time to time. So that's just my 2 cents.
We don't do pennies anymore, Tevis, here in America, so you can keep the 2 cents. But no, seriously, thank you.
Do you guys still believe in BMNR for the long term still? And what prices could you see in the highs?
The highs depends on, of course, the price of Ethereum. I see Ethereum could go to like 7,000 in the next year or two. We have to get on the other side of this little crypto winter that we're in. And I think that we will at some point this year. But yeah, like if you believe in Ethereum, I think BMNR is not a stretch at all. And they work as a leverage bet on it. So I think that, so if you have questions on that, Tevis puts out content on BMNR fairly often. I have a video, I think yesterday, on the whole bear thesis, but what the actual ecosystem, what Ethereum, it's more of an Ethereum video than it is a BMNR video, but there is a BMNR update too with it. So
correct.
Yeah.
I do believe in BMNR in the long term because I believe in Ethereum in the long term. I think it could see the $50 range this year, which would say Ethereum is around 4,000 again. I think we can go higher than that, but let's just say $50 by end of year. I could definitely see that easily. Doesn't Iran have to be resolved by June 26? We can't have midterm elections with oil over 100 and an active war.
I don't know what they mean.
Oh, Iran.
Iran. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like thinking about the company Iris Energy. I'm like, what? I mean, no. They can certainly happen and linger, but I think the thing that actually stops it more than the midterm stuff is like the neighbors of Iran there in the Middle East. They can't have that situation like going into November of huge swaths of their economy shut down. That's not likely. That's not going to happen, and they will put pressure on whomever they have to. They will make promises and agreements with whoever they have to get things running again.
Yeah. And who was it? Was it Ross Gerber, or maybe it was Michael? I think it was Michael Burry. And this is something. Do you see how crazy burned I am?
Oh,
Uh,
dude,
I
get some
think
Aldo.
I think it was Michael Burry who was just like, "Hey, the president's playing a dangerous game because he's showing the market that, like, he really cares to keep the price of oil down, and other countries can manipulate that or take advantage of that." But to some degree, I agree with that. Where it's like, hey, if the president shows his weakness is the price of oil, and that's going to get him to back down from geopolitical conflicts or to de-escalate, then it's like, okay, great, I know how to do that. Just bomb some oil fields. Um, anyways, anyways, doesn't neither here nor there. How's the other startup going? Way, way slower because we're not vibe coding the other startup. And so it feels like we're crawling on the other startup, but it's actually like real engineers and designers doing real work. The tough part about the other startup is that the engine is very important. So we have to be like accurate with calculations because it's going to be handling like real portfolio data. So we can't just like vibe code that one, unfortunately. One thing that we're probably going to do in the next couple of weeks is we want to probably open it up to like a beta round of like 20 or 30 people to just like try it out, play around with it, give us feedback. So if you guys are interested in that, just drop me a DM on X, and I'm going to start sending out some invites for maybe like 30, 40 people just to try it out, play around with it, treat it as like a try to break it, whatever. It's definitely nowhere near ready to be like prime time launch, but we're trying to be more iterative about it. So yeah, just drop me a DM, and I'll flip you a link.
Members only, right? No, I'm just kidding.
No, anybody. Yeah, we just
Yeah,
we really care about the feedback.
yeah.
Can you give an example of a covered call on Nebius? Sure. Like I could say 135, $135 for March 20th, let's say. And when March 20th comes, if they're trading above $135, I have to give it to you at $135. If it's below $135, I just keep the premium that I collected from selling that call, and that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we take a small break from questions and I can show you this new feature?
Yeah. Show us that, and then we'll finish strong with the questions, maybe rapid fire.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So here's what I'm building. Can you guys see my screen? Can you see my screen right?
Yes.
So I'm building a little screener page, and or maybe let me just do Amazon. That might be easier. And I basically want to do DCF, Monte Carlo, and relative valuation. So I can enter all of my assumptions here, and it'll give me like what is the fair value of Amazon relative to what it's trading. Obviously, it's not 147. I have to like say, okay, how much do I think they're going to grow, whatever. But all the calculations are happening on the back end. I just put in my assumptions, and then obviously I can do Monte Carlo simulation. So if I want to increase the simulation sizes, drift, trading days, whatever, I fix these a little bit, and then relative value. So if I want to say like, what is Amazon? I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll try it. What is Amazon relative to like Apple, relative to Meta and Nvidia, let's say? I can search those, and here you can see the market caps, price to earnings, like what are the peers, and is it undervalued or relative to peers? Like what is the implied price that this thing should be trading at? So still work in progress, but yeah, building a little screener tool. What do you think?
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying active attention. I was responding to a message. I saw the first part though, like the you. I thought you were sharing this with everybody, not just me. I'm sorry. That was rude of
What
me.
do you guys think?
Yeah, open up.
And then you can actually like look at.
Yeah, I don't use DCF often. Monte Carlo is. I'm glad that you have that on there. It's available too. But like having access to a tool like that where you can just plug in the assumptions. I think the one thing which I don't remember seeing is if somebody's kind of newer to that, it might be helpful to have just like a question mark that you hover over that tells you like that this is what whack is. So like, so it's like, oh, whack is not whack. It's actually useful. So you can actually see, oh, you do have it. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, I have the tooltips and whatnot.
And I love the sliders too.
Yeah. And,
but I'm sorry about not paying better attention, my friend.
Dude, it's like all good. Yeah, relative value. I'm gonna do more stuff, but this is just like the start. But I wanted to have a screener page so like people can actually use it as like a calculator or a tool, or as opposed to just getting information. This page is not live yet, so I'm just fixing it up, and I gotta determine if I want to make it like free for everybody, if I want to make it like locked to users or subscribers or whatever. But yeah, anyways, that's the demo of the week. Let's finish off the questions.
Absolutely.
Robert asks, what do you think of UiPath? Have you looked into it? They report tomorrow.
Yeah. I've not looked into them deeply since 2023. So again, probably a ton has changed. At the time, a lot of people were looking for the next Palantir when Palantir was trading at like $30. And I know that there's not a whole lot of overlap, or at least there wasn't at the time, between Palantir and UiPath. Palantir did get into the process mining stuff. So this is back in 2023. But like looking at UiPath, I'm like, I don't know about the deepness of the moat. That's the one thing that I didn't think that they had at all in 2023. Like that doesn't mean they're a bad investment or a bad company. Now maybe they have one now. I've not kept up with them. There's some people that really like the name. So yeah, that I know very little about it these days because I've not kept up. But yeah, just make sure that the moat is legit, not just what they're saying, but it's also useful if you can, like download an app like Quarter and just see what other people are talking about, or if other people are even talking about products that UiPath is using. They're talking about process mining, those sort of things. So you have a better understanding of not just what the company themselves is saying, but what the competition, what other customers are saying. That's really important with the thesis.
Yeah. Is selling SoFi covered calls with a 20 delta for the next few months a reasonable thing?
Perhaps for you, I wouldn't do it. I've actually not sold any on SoFi for a while. I think it's undervalued, and I don't sell covered calls on undervalued positions. Like grossly undervalued.
Yeah, I haven't sold covered calls on SoFi either for a while. I also think that like the time value isn't that great because it's not like very lucrative. Like if I sold Nebius a couple months out, I'm getting a lot of time value premium, but for SoFi it wouldn't be a lot. So you're running a higher risk than like I don't think the 20 deltas are made equal, man. Like a 20 delta on SoFi and a 20 delta on Nebius over 2 months, drastically different things.
Yeah. Well, and the one wild card there too is like whatever price you set for the covered call, if you're okay that part of your position going away, yeah. I mean, that would change the equation. So
yeah.
And I do have some SoFi that when we move up, I will sell again. Like it's in the swing bucket. I'm not going to hold it long term. The rest of my position I hold long term, but yeah, it's undervalued.
Do we still see this year ending bullish? I do. I think midterms. Yeah, exactly. Did you buy the 3K hood share? I have no idea what this is about.
So Robinhood's event, they also announced a marketplace, and they have this weird artsy chair that I would not buy at all, period. But I'm sure there's somebody out there that will. But it doesn't look comfortable, man. I think it's more of a piece of art.
Yeah.
I like to sit in my chairs.
I didn't really watch the event. I saw the highlights of it. I didn't watch the actual event.
Well, I've been telling people like it's the worst Robinhood event that I've been to, which means it was very, very good. Like they don't put on bad events. It was great. It was a little bit smaller, lower key, not as many like shocking announcements. And I even think that the platinum card that they launched I don't think that was their main attraction. Like you can kind of tell, like Abhishek is kind of the right-hand guy of Vlad. Like there's a lot of people that are owning different spheres of Robinhood, but what Abhishek is presenting is the main thing that they're most excited about, and it wasn't the platinum card.
Yeah. Whoever, yeah, I stopped.
You gotta come as a +1 sometime. Meet all these other people there, and meet some of the Robinhood guys. Like you're gonna love it.
You read my mind, man. I didn't watch the Robinhood event. It's not like I'm boycotting them, but I didn't watch them because I wasn't invited to the event.
I invited you, man. I literally was like, be my +1.
I appreciate that. I want to be invited for me, not for +1. Franzi said, I'm building a physical AI competitor because they didn't sponsor me for years. Yeah, guess what? I'm building a Robinhood competitor too. All right. Simon says, favorite potato breed and favorite bread?
Yeah, my favorite cultivar is actually Yukon Gold. They're versatile, delicious, tasty. I like the humidity. Not as good of a store or like if you're making fries or something. Favorite potato cooking method? I don't have just one favorite, but I will say I actually finally figured out how to make potato salad. And it's weird, but you boil the whole potato unskinned first, then you skin it. And the texture of the potato, when you actually cube it up, it's a little bit harder. It is perfect for potato salad. You cannot go wrong.
You are truly Dr. Potato Head.
You know what my wife made for dinner tonight, Tevis?
Potatoes?
Potatoes. You know what kind?
Mashed.
Golden potatoes. I don't know if they're Yukon Gold specifically, but yeah. Baked. We put them in foil.
Golden potato it. Dude, you know what you sound like right now? You sound like those wine connoisseur people, the sommeliers, and they're asking like a freaking caveman, and they're like, what wine do you like? And I'm like, red. You know, this is what this conversation is right now. I don't know what. It's just potato is a potato, man.
Yeah, this is Potato Weekly.
I just joined here, guys.
It's between like the vegetable itself and Tevis's streaming products and my monitor, my second monitor. I don't know what's going on with it. So
hey, AI and potatoes. What a way to spend the Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay, so speaking of, would it be possible for someone to avoid code aid due diligence website for stock? Avoid code and due diligence website for stock? Like, can you build it without knowing code? Yeah, I think so. Yes, is my answer. Have you guys seen VRT, and do you feel it's overvalued or not? I mean, S&P committee doesn't think it's overvalued.
Well, that hasn't stopped them before, but Vertiv, they're in a with the AI arms race and cooling being a significant need for a lot of these data centers, they're doing very well. There was a guy, I don't remember who he was. He's a CEO of some fund that Evan Stock Market News had on a couple of weeks ago, and he was very bullish on Vertiv and talked about it. And my question was, like, there's this change to 800 volts direct current that's happening with a lot of the newer data centers. And my understanding of this, and this is an amateurish understanding, I've done some research, but I'm not an expert in this field, is that switch over to direct current, the 800 volts direct current, has significantly fewer cooling needs than the current system and setup. So, and it seems like, Jensen Huang's talked about this shift. A lot of the people that are in the space have talked about the shift as well. If that's the direction that a lot of these are going, then is Vertiv doing anything to, offer other products as well? Because if that's the case, like, yeah, they'll print money for the next couple of years, but as some of these newer data centers come online and they don't have all the cooling needs that they did previously under the prior iteration architecture, rather. That's a problem for Vertiv. So, but I don't know enough. But whenever I have something like this, I was looking at Vertiv, I'm like, yeah, they're going to get this SP500. They're going to do really well. I don't have any money left in my swing portfolio, but I'm like, I haven't heard a good answer yet to that bear case. Maybe it's overstated, but I just don't get it.
Yes.
Yeah. Sun Daddy had a good comment there too. Yeah, they are more than just cooling, but they're mostly cooling.
I love that. Sorry,
Ooh,
read
that's
your
awesome. Yeah, good username, dude.
yeah. VRT isn't just cooling; they also provide power solutions to data centers. They provide power supply units. Um,
Yeah, they do.
why do potatoes generate electricity?
Yeah, that's been too long. Kid science fair thing.
You're going to get so many potato questions. Yeah,
We'll save them for Friday.
yeah. Tevis looking like a red potato. Thanks, EP Glass.
That's a good choice.
Appreciate that too. Do you guys have a price target for Nebius? Yes, I do. $200 by the end of the year.
All right. Yeah, I don't have one.
Heard it here first.
Too new in it for me.
UEC, uranium energy. Any thoughts? Thesis for nuclear energy for AI data centers and the Iran conflict.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like UEC, I don't know that specific ticker, but what's happening in the space, like there's a clear need for energy. Uranium and nuclear energy are very clear and evident. I'm glad that we're actually having sane regulation towards it. The modular reactors, I think, are pretty interesting, but it takes a while for these things to be built out. So I decided when I was researching energy, and I'm like, I want some sort of energy play. I got into VG just because I'm like, okay, LNG is a lot easier to understand. This company is differentiated there. So I went with that. But I was like, yeah, uranium. Problem is, most of the things I was looking in uranium already ran hard. I'm like, I don't know how much more these things have to run. Solar was kind of tough at that point. It's still kind of tough with regulation, although it's probably bottom already. But yeah, if you're looking at it as a long-term investor, you're probably fine.
Highest ETH prediction end of year that I can reach. So like I said, I think ETH can reach 4,000 again for sure. I think it can go higher, maybe 5,000 or 6,000. It really depends. If we are bullish towards the end of the year, everything that I'm seeing from doing these BMNR weekly recap videos is the adoption behind the scenes for Ethereum is staggering. You're seeing institutions, you're seeing hedge funds, pension funds, governments, everybody, companies. You like? Did you see Brian Armstrong's comment yesterday?
No.
Okay.
Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase.
Correct.
On Ethereum, did he make a price prediction on Ethereum?
No.
Okay.
He didn't.
Yeah, probably under Tom Lee's prediction for Ethereum price.
Yeah, here we go. Let me share this with you. This is interesting. Brian Armstrong, March 9th. Very soon, there are going to be more AI agents than humans making transactions. They can't open a bank account, but they can own a crypto wallet. Think about it.
Yeah.
Ethereum is the chain where they're going to transact. AI is exploding. And so it's like you have AI, you have strategic reserves, you have so many different catalysts all converging onto the same asset class. And I think that's going to bode very well towards the end of the year. We're going to see if that happens. Ethereum has had a quite poor price action so far, but I do, and I'm not necessarily like, Tom Lee, where it's like, oh, 18,000 or 20,000 or whatever. Like, I get that. I'm saying I think it can hit 4,000 again and maybe 5,000 or 6,000 by the end of the year. Still like a triple from where we are, but it's definitely not like a, 6 or 7x as what Tom is thinking.
Can you throw up Simon H64's comment at 8:03 Eastern time? Yeah, he said, this is going back to the Vertiv one. You still need DTC cooling for 800B. It's true. The chips still run super hot. That's the other shift that I failed to mention with Vertiv 2. There's a lot that's happening in the silicon photonics space. That substrate's not going to be like the only thing that chipsets are built on, but that is accelerating rapidly, and the cooling needs there are significantly lower as well. So basically what I'm saying is there's still a need for the technology. It's not all what they do, but like the extreme ramp in growth may be coming to an end. I don't think they're going to fall off a cliff. I have a hard time like trying to figure out what that looks like maybe 3 or 4 years out.
Yeah. 6K by end of year. Yeah, dude, I could see it. I mean, You've had aggressive moves on Ethereum before. You've had parabolic moves on Ethereum before. The last time it hit a bottom in the Liberation Day tariffs timeframe, it went as far down as like 1,200, and then it rallied in the course of what, like 3-4 weeks, all the way back up to 4,000.
Yeah.
These price targets seem staggering if you've never seen what the chart looks like. If you see what the chart looks like, this thing is brutal on the downside, and it's brutal on the upside too in terms of how volatile it is.
Yeah, it's
So
2,000 right now. It was 5,000 in October. So
exactly, like 6,000 is not crazy.
it can go up just as fast as it goes down.
Yeah. Next question. We've been on for 2 hours. Holy.
Yeah.
Do you hold ESLT? No. Roy?
Don't know what that is. Sorry.
How many positions do you recommend for the average brokerage account? It really depends on your size, I would say. If you have under like 50, under 50,000, I would say between no more than 4. Under 100,000, I would say no more than 6-ish, 7 maybe. And then like under 250, like no more than 12. Something like just rough math, but like you get how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, like sizing is part of it. Like you have $10,000, like maybe you have 2 positions that you feel strongly about. Invest in your core convictions. Like when your portfolio gets large or large for you, whatever it is. A couple of things. One, do what gives you peace at night. Like if you're constantly up and having to check things in these volatile times and losing sleep over it, you're investing wrongly. You need to figure out what makes you comfortable, even if it's like ETFs. Second, I like to have no more names than what I need to be able to do due diligence that helps me sleep at night. So there are positions that I need to do less due diligence on. I still do it anyway, but like Nubank, I can forget that they exist and not look at a single earnings call. And in 10 years, they're going to be significantly higher than they are now. Just it's Nubank, NVIDIA, not quite as much, but kind of like that. Palantir is going to be volatile, but kind of the same idea. Although I'm fascinated by what both of them are doing, so I like to pay attention. But so for me, like that's about 10 names. When I get more than that, it has to be something that is like real simple, and I don't have to do a lot of due diligence on for me to add more.
Yeah. When your portfolio gets large, always use protection. Yes, hedging is important, but it's not anything you have to like there is an 80-20 rule for portfolios, right? Like there is, you can over engineer a 10K portfolio, when in reality it's like build good habits.
Yeah,
probably gonna get the furthest.
Yeah, Nick asked. Nick has a question at 808. Yeah, if any of you looked at Navitas and BTS, they design 800V power systems for data centers. They also do a lot with gallium nitride, which I think is really interesting. So they were pretty interesting to me, and I was actually kind of researching them at the same time as I was looking at Air back last June, July. And I just decided, because of portfolio concentration, go with the automated testing equipment guys. Different space, but the gallium nitride is what really interested me there more so than the power systems. But Franzi says it's overvalued. Like it's harder for me to value something like that. And so I'm just like, hey, too hard, probably good. Let me invest in Air.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna actually do some rapid fire because guys keep asking questions faster than we can knock them down. When are you gonna start going to the gym? I don't know, man. I haven't gone in months, which is not great. I should start going again. So that's an easy one to knock off. Would you guys put Google as a hold since the run from 160 to 300s?
If I owned it, I would just hold it.
That's a good way to put it. My rapid fire. We answered this. Did you buy the dip in VG, Roy?
I did. It was a small buy, as first buy since early January. So yeah.
We literally just answered the UEC like 5 minutes or so ago, 10 minutes ago. So yeah. Go gym. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe eventually. Like I feel like when I get back into it, like I'll actually start going again. It's just like getting back into the habit is hard. And yeah, I'm bad at it. Rundown on Strait of Hormuz situation, please, sir. How long until this gets into a very serious supply chain wise? Just a time frame. What do you think, Roy?
Maybe a month, but I'll just add, like, it depends on how much is getting through. Like, if nothing is getting through, maybe a little bit less. If there's some stuff getting through, like China has a deal and they're able to get, like, that's good for China, but it's also good for that entire oil market because it's all interconnected. So, and yeah.
Yeah, it's something crazy. Like 75% of Japan's oil comes from. So it's like now people are starting to count down the backlog of like the stockpiles. And they have what, 7 months, 8 months before it gets like crazy, crazy, crazy. Some countries obviously faster and some countries later.
And then
But
there's Europe.
yeah, I mean, Europe's been dead for a while. So
I don't know what, like, you could put a kindergarten in charge of their energy policy and they would probably do better. Like, except for France. France has actually been fine, but everybody else, like, oh man.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else shocked at how well everything's holding up?
A little bit surprised, yeah. It's tough to predict. It's one of those things where, like, people try to time the market, and it's hard. It's hard no matter how smart you are, no matter how long you've been doing this. For me, it's just easier to buy and hold quality names. Occasionally make hedges, occasionally trim. I probably don't do enough of either of those, but yeah, pretty surprising.
Future Governor of Canada, did you see that Trump tweet, by the way? Future Governor of Canada. He just posted it out today. And I was just like, man, starting with this again, which is kind of funny. But the question here is around data centers, asking, should there be data centers in northern parts of Canada? Honestly, man, there's so much regulatory hurdles here that I don't think it's going to be worthwhile, because you have to be basically like get the blessing of the government to build anything here. I say here in Canada. So I don't. Should they? Yeah, I think there was some talks about Alberta to be building some data centers. Is it actually going to happen? I wouldn't hold my breath, honestly. All right. I think we're through our questions.
Oh yeah. Nick's comment actually reminded me, like, the other part as far as the timing piece is fertilizer. Like, there's a whole timing effect of what needs to happen with grain, with fertilizer and the yield. And that's, again, around, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like 4 or 5 weeks from here where they really need to be pushing some stuff through. Otherwise, I mean, I don't think we'll see widespread famine, but we could see a lot of inflation related to food, specifically with grain, as yields go down dramatically. So that's a major factor. It's no good. And usually the people that can least afford to get hurt are the ones that are. So
yeah, I wonder if there's a trade around that.
Probably, but yeah.
You know,
actually, like, I'm sure that there's a bunch, like prediction markets, commodities, futures.
Everything's all priced in, right?
Yeah.
Igor says Canada's bureaucracy is insane. Tell me about it, bro. 5 long-term holds. Honestly, you can't go wrong with Nvidia, Meta, Amazon. Palantir, sure. SoFi, they're executing very, very well. And I think that's 5.
Igor also says potatoes are the answer. That is correct.
This is correct. Okay. Shall we wrap there, Dr. Potato Head? Everybody, thank you so much for watching the Bootleg Weekly. 2 hours and 15 minutes with you fine people. And now I'm going to go eat some food, and Roy is going to eat some potatoes, and we will talk to you when we talk to you. Love you all, and see you all on Friday for the Ron and Travis show, and next Tuesday for the Bootleg Weekly. Buenas noches, angelitos. Adios, amigos. Goodbye.